Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Lee Camp. Thanks for being here. We got a lot to get to today. Donald Trump, in an interview on Fox News, admitted, essentially, that 300,000 Gazans have been killed by Israel. We're going to get to that in just a minute. So much more. And of course, we're also going to dig into the admissions by Netanyahu and other higher ups in Israel of what exactly their game plan is, why they're about to let some minimal amount of aid into Gaza. It's not for good reasons. I'm sure that shocks you. And yeah, just a lot of important things to discuss. Of course, genocide Joe Biden has gotten cancer. I'll mention that in a few minutes. But anyway, let's start with Donald Trump on Fox News. He says a lot of idiot things in this 1 minute. I mean, that's the thing. You play a minute of Donald Trump, and by the end of it, you're like, I need hours to break apart every stupid, dumb thing he said. But listen towards the end of this 1 minute of what he admits, and I'll give you a little refresher. At the beginning of this genocide, Gaza had a population of 2.2 to 2.3 million. The one I've heard most commonly is 2.2 million. So if over 300,000 have been killed, as I have covered, as Stephen Donziger has covered, as many others have put forward, if you take the 186,000 that the Lancet Medical Journal had been killed back in June and you extrapolate that out to now, we would be well over 300,000. We'd be over 300,000 back in January. So well over 300,000. Now, that is not just the bombs. That is famine, disease, etc., which is being caused by Israel. This is not any other situation where you're like, how can you blame Israel for someone dying of disease? When Israel locks them in a tiny area of land and forbids all medicine from getting in there, that's how you can blame Israel. Anyway, here's Donald Trump on Fox News the other day.
Israel, Hamas, the situation in Gaza is going to come to an end soon.
Gaza's a nasty place. It's been that way for years. I think it should become a free zone. Freedom. I call it a freedom zone. It should become a freedom zone.
I'm sorry. I can't go to the end without saying something. What the fuck are you talking about? A freedom zone. Yeah, they should be free. It should not be free to be ethnically cleansed. That is not freedom. I don't know what your definition of freedom is. His definition of freedom is I get to ethnically cleanse everyone, and then it's a free zone. What are you talking about? What? But of course, none of us get that mad when we hear Donald Trump say this idiot shit because it's all idiot shit. So you're just like, I can't even, what else do you expect to come out of his dumb face holes? His dumb, saggy face holes. But anyway, that's not even the point I want to get to. I want to get to the end of this video, if I make it.
It doesn't work. Every 10 years they go back, they have Hamas, everybody's being killed all over the place. I mean, you ever see, you talk about crime stats.
Sorry. Everyone's being killed. That's one of the favorite things is the passive. Oh, really? Are they being killed? Who are they being killed by? Who is this killing? Who is causing this killing? We don't know. They're just being killed. I think we do know. Just Donald Trump can't say Israel. No.
It's a nasty place.
Are these people, these countries that you were just visiting, are they going to have to be a part of the solution?
Well, they would be. They would be. I spoke to all three of them. They would absolutely be. I mean, they're really rich and really, 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 even more than rich. They're good people. And they would help. And so money's not even the problem.
And you got to get countries to say yes, to take them.
Look. These are people that want to be in the Middle East. They really want to be in the Middle East. They love the Middle East. I see that. There's a spirit for the Middle East. They didn't have to go to Sweden, Germany, these different countries. They could have been home in the Middle East if somebody had the brains to build beautiful communities. 1.9 million is a lot of people, but it's not a lot of people, relatively.
There it is. 1.9 million. That means 300,000 have been killed since October 7th, 2023. 300,000. So when you hear the number 50,000 that they throw around, that is the Gaza Health Ministry saying how many have been killed by bombs that they have names of. They've also said that it's probably the number killed by bombs is over 60,000. They just don't have the names. A lot of them are missing under rubble, etc. So that 50,000 is not the number that Israel has killed since this started. That number is 300,000, and Donald Trump just admitted it on national television. So just stop this bullshit of like, oh, it's not nearly the number of people. Yeah, the population is down to 1.9 million. And when this began, and of course, I have said as much as anyone, this did not begin on October 7th, but this version of the genocide began October 7th. When this began, October 7th, 2023, was 2.2 million at least. Some say 2.3 million. So there it is. Donald Trump admitted it. Live television. I didn't know that that we were admitting that now. I thought that was a big secret. Hey, let's get to one more video before I move on to other topics. Well, no, I'll be on Israel for a little bit here, but please click thumbs up, click share. And this video, this NYU student, it's a goddamn hero. Has the balls or vagina to whatever. He was speaking at one of the graduations. They have, NYU has multiple schools, right? They have law school graduations, they have film school graduations, etc. This was one of the schools. This is their, I believe, valedictorian speaking. But anyway, this is the speech he gave, and NYU is now working to withhold or revoke his diploma for giving this speech.
The only thing that is appropriate to say in this time and to a group this large is a recognition of the atrocities currently happening in Palestine.
And listen to that response, too. Israel has not just lost most of the world, they have definitely lost anybody under 30. I mean, which is what I call the kids. The kids get it. The kids can get it.
I want to say that the genocide currently occurring.
And he uses, and you can tell how brave this is. He uses the term genocide. You can tell there's some people booing, but it's this tiny, tiny fraction.
Is supported politically and militarily by the United States, is paid for by our tax dollars, and has been live streamed to our phones for the past 18 months. And that I do not wish to speak only to my own politics today, but to speak for all people of conscience, all people who feel the moral injury of this atrocity.
All people of conscience, all people who feel the moral injury of this atrocity. God damn right. And thank you, Dan, for supporting the show. God damn right. Goes out to Dan. But exactly. It's not a political question. Are you against genocide? End of question. It's not Republican, Democrat, Israeli, Jew, Christian. Doesn't matter. Are you for or against genocide? End of question. It's not political. I mean, of course, it's political in a certain regard of in terms of what you'll do and how our countries behave about it. But in terms of like which party do you want to? It doesn't matter.
And I want to say that I condemn this genocide and complicity in this genocide.
I'm surprised no one at NYU just full on like front line of the Chicago Bears tackled him. Just like lower down 3-point stance. You just see a guy careen through the screen and take him out full tackle. Like that, it seems like that's what NYU was thinking about. I wouldn't be surprised if there was someone like getting ready, lacing up his shoes, getting ready for the full tackle. Because now they're working on. Apparently, so far they're withholding his diploma. I assume there's discussions about actually not letting him graduate, which can impact the rest of his life. And that's what NYU is. You say something against genocide, and we'll try and make sure we ruin the rest of your life. How fucking repulsive are they? Like, what? NYU, are you the administrators? Are you human at all? Is there any, he didn't change your policies. He didn't lock himself to your offices and dump blood all over your nice suits. All he did was speak when he was given a microphone. If you had any sense in you, that's the type of student you should want to raise. You should want to create. That is the type of human being that you should want to release out into the world. Not one who says any of the alternatives, which is there might be a genocide, but I don't really want to say anything about it because it might be bad to say something. I mean, for me, it might be bad to say something about it. There's that guy or girl. There's the it might not be a genocide. I don't know. I saw Fox News the other day. It says no big deal. There's that person. So there's plenty of other types. Wouldn't you want to create this one for the world? This is the type of human being that should be pumped out in the world. If these Ivy League schools are worth a goddamn cent, much less the whatever 100,000s people have to dump into them. Anyway, I hope that they find it in their hearts to give him his diploma. But be more like him. We just need a photo of him for a bumper sticker, and it just says, be like that guy. We need more of that. Okay, I got so much more for you. I'm going to get into the Trump's sanctions on the ICC prosecutors. We're going to get into Netanyahu's plans that he said publicly, which, again, announcing war crimes publicly certainly makes the prosecutions easier. But real quick, I want to talk about the sponsor of our show here, of today's show. Sponsor for the show is Chapter. Are you or your parents 65 years of age or older? There was a time where I'd love to believe that I had no 65-year-old viewers because I was this young hick dude. But now I'm whatever I am. I'm here. It's just I have viewers of all ages. So 65 years of age, or they're your parents, because I know there's a lot of you with 65-year-old parents. And also, you live in the United States. I know not all of you are in the U.S., but Chapter can really help you understand the 24,000, that's literal, plans offered by Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and Medigap. 96% of people who use Chapter then come back to use it the following year, meaning they really got what they were looking for, were happy with it. It is a free service. Did I already say that? It's free. Seniors have historically saved over $1,000 a year with Chapter. Chapter has near perfect reviews online and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. And it's free. I think I said that now. So check out if Chapter's right for you or your parents. You can either go to askchapter.org/camp, my last name, or call 757-349-8232. After this show, I will put all of this in the description of the episode and in the podcast description. And yeah, it's free. And in case you're skeptical like me and you're like, oh, I bet their free advice is to use the plans that somehow benefit them or something. Actually, their competitors were doing that. And now there's a Department of Justice charges have been brought against or investigation or whatever it's called, have been brought against their competitors, not against Chapter, against their competitors for doing that, for pushing people towards plans that benefit that company. But Chapter is not in that prosecution because they don't do that. They actually look for the plan that is best for you. So check out Chapter. All right. Let's keep going here. Please click thumbs up, click share. It's tough to know how many of these stories to cover because you could literally just be live streaming how many journalists have been killed by Israel, how many nurses. You could just do that 24/7. So you kind of got to pick here and there to reveal the war crimes of Israel. And I just wanted to note here that 5 more Palestinian journalists were killed last night. And Western journalists are, of course, silent about it. 5 more journalists assassinated last night by Israel. This has been Israel's longtime goal, is to assassinate journalists and make sure that word cannot get out as to what Israel's doing. Luckily, word is getting out. Luckily, these journalists are ridiculously brave, as are the so many people in Gaza, the doctors, the nurses, the people trying to feed other human beings. It's just what those people are doing and attempting to do to rescue people and take care of people in Gaza is really just unfathomable. But anyway, Israel assassinated 5 journalists just last evening. And meanwhile, those who try and bring Israel to account for their crimes, like the ICC, the International Criminal Court, right, has arrest warrants out for Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, the former defense minister, for their obvious war crimes. Well, Trump has this part is a couple months old, that Trump put sanctions on the ICC prosecutors. However, now we're getting news on the impact of those sanctions is actually stopping them from doing their work, having the intended success, which is to stop us from prosecuting the world from prosecuting these genocidal war criminals. The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor has lost access to his email. Here's the thing I also want people to take away from this. You know, it's not like people need a reminder of how much Trump sucks. No one's going, oh, why did he do that? Because he's an awful human being. But maybe some people need a reminder that Microsoft sucks. They're the ones that went along with this sanction to steal the guy's email account, which of course means he loses all of his back information. He loses contact with plenty of contacts who only had that email for him. But Microsoft has gone along with the sanctions to freeze and ban him from his email. His bank accounts have been frozen. I don't have listed here which banks those are that have frozen him out. The Hague-based court's American staffers have been told that if they travel to the U.S., they might be arrested. Americans might be arrested for traveling to their home country because they were working with the International Criminal Court, which, need I remind everyone, is an internationally agreed upon body to prosecute war criminals. The thing is, until recently, it has almost exclusively gone after war criminals that the West could agree were the bad guys. And has almost exclusively, with like 1 or 2 exceptions, gone after black war criminals. But apparently the genocide in Gaza got to be too much. Got to be too much to ignore. Those are just a few of the hurdles that are facing court staff since President Trump in February slapped sanctions on the chief prosecutor, Karim Khan. Trump sanctioned the court after a panel of ICC judges in November issued arrest warrants. I already said that. In February, ICC president, Judge Akane, said that the sanctions constitute serious attacks against the court's state parties, the rule of law-based international order, and millions of victims. The February order bans Khan and other non-Americans among the ICC's 900 staff members from entering the United States. It also threatens any person, institution, or company with fines and prison time if they provide Khan with financial, material, or technological support. Can you imagine? It's tough to even picture, but could you imagine if you're a young American working for the ICC? So picture yourself. You go through college. You actually want to do some good. You know, in your worldview, believe the International Criminal Court, they prosecute war criminals. That sounds like an organization that's not just worth my time, but that the United States would support. I know we never signed on to it, but I bet you a lot of these people, younger people, were kind of naive as to what the U.S. stood for. And they were like, oh, well, ICC is really important. I can't believe I got this job. They get that job. They're over there at The Hague. And now they can't go home. They can't visit their family because their own country might arrest them. Imagine you're 21 and that's the situation you find yourself in. It must be fucking bizarre. But anyway, the bigger point is just Trump's efforts to make sure that the war criminals are not prosecuted for being war criminals seems to be working. So let's get to the forthright and admitted goal of Israel in apparently they're going to let some small amount of aid into Gaza because people are starving to death, right? Your average Gazan now has one meal a day, and even that is beginning to run out. And children are dying of starvation every day in Gaza. And that's not even talking about the bombs and everything else. So now they've said they'll let in this tiny amount of aid. And if you're like me, you might be wondering, why is that? Why does Israel want to let in a little aid right now? It's from Drop Site. Gaza aid scheme offers Israel symbolic cover to finish their genocide. Benjamin Netanyahu has made it clear, like publicly stated, essentially, that his decision to allow a minuscule amount of aid to enter Gaza is a technical one aimed at quieting international condemnation of Israel's forced starvation of Gaza and to clear the path of a final solution imposed on the Palestinians of Gaza. And I'm sure Scahill knows what he's doing when he uses the words final solution to remind everyone of the thing they should be reminded of. But so here's a quote from Netanyahu. "We're going to take control of the Gaza Strip," he says in a video that also announced that Israel would begin delivering minimal humanitarian aid, food, and medicine only. And then he gives his reasoning. "Our best friends in the world, senators," meaning U.S. senators, "I know as strong supporters of Israel, have warned that they cannot support us if images of mass starvation emerge." So what this is Netanyahu trying to explain to his even somehow even more right-wing people in his government, yes, I'm letting a little bit of food in for, so children can survive, but don't worry, it's so we can complete our genocide. Literally, this is him trying to defend why he would let any aid into Gaza. That is how sick and bloodthirsty these, I was about to call them human beings, but arguable. But that's how sick and bloodthirsty these people are. He's trying to justify why you would let any aid in. He says, they have warned that they cannot support us if images of mass starvation emerge. They come to me and they say, "We'll give you all the help you need to quote unquote win the war." That means complete the genocide, but we can't be receiving pictures of famine. To continue the war of annihilation, he asserts, we need to do it in a way they won't stop us. So he's letting a little bit of aid in order to get some cover so that the U.S. and other countries will continue to support his genocide until Israel decides the genocide is complete. Netanyahu's coalition ally, Bezalel Smotrich, who endorses starving, mass killing, and depopulating Gaza, he said the aid scheme would allow, quote, "our friends in the world to continue to provide us with an international umbrella of protection against the Security Council and the Hague Tribunal, and for us to continue to fight." To fight, he means to genocide. So they are publicly admitting that the reason they're letting in aid is because they're worried if they don't let in any aid, that photos of famine come out and it makes it more difficult for them to genocide. And that is quite a catch-22. You want to genocide of people, but it's just other people say, give them some food and then you can genocide. And you go, oh, I guess so, but not giving them food is kind of part of our genocide. Like, I'm sorry, it's one or the other. You got so yeah, you want to genocide, be like, all right, we gotta give them some food so that we can. I know it's tough. Look, that is a catch-22 we've all been through, and it's just really tough to figure out. The aid that will enter Gaza in the coming days is the tiniest amount. A handful of, this is a quote, by the way, from Smotrich, is the tiniest amount. A handful of bakeries that will hand out pita bread to people in public kitchens. People in Gaza will get a pita and a food plate, and that's it. Again, this is them trying to defend why the hell they would let any food in for starving human beings who are completely innocent of anything they're accusing them of. Just, again, remarkably repulsive. Absolutely morally bankrupt. Whatever's below morally bankrupt, I don't know what it is. Morally foreclosed upon. I don't know what's below morally bankrupt, but that's where they are. Smotrich continued, truth be told, until the last of the hostages returns, we should also, by the way, hostages are not even on their list of aims anymore, or they're like the bottom of the list of aims. When they put recently, I covered it recently, when they put forward the latest list of aims of their quote unquote war, the hostages are at the bottom. Destroying Hamas is at the top, destroying Gaza, taking control of Gaza, all this coded language for genocide. That comes way before getting the hostages. Anyway, he says, truth be told, until the last of the hostages returns, we should also not let water into the Gaza Strip. But the reality is that if we do that, the world will force us to halt the war. The world won't let us genocide unless we give them food. And to lose, he says. It would be winning the battle and losing the war. I'm committed to winning the war. I want to keep genociding, so we got to give them food. Continuing the quote, we are disassembling Gaza and leaving it as piles of rubble. So here they are admitting that they're turning all of Gaza into rubble. Until, I don't know when it was, a few months ago, they didn't admit that, right? They would say, no, we're bombing Hamas. We're killing Hamas. We're not turning it into rubble. But here they are admitting their aim is to turn Gaza into rubble, which in most areas they've already done. The total destruction, which has no precedent globally. And it's amazing that he says that, because that'd be the type of thing that, I or a critic might say. This has no precedent globally for destroying an entire area and killing everyone within that area. And, there have been prior Holocausts, right? Prior genocides, certainly. But there haven't been, an area has not been sealed off and just murdered 2.2 million people in that area and destroy every building. That has not happened, really. I mean, there's easy arguments to make about the atomic bombs. But anyway, but he's saying it like, don't we have such a hard job to do? He's saying it like this, this tough war we have is there's no precedent for this. And so we've got to keep it up. He's to continue the quote. He says, and the world isn't stopping us. There are pressures. There are those who attack us. They are trying to make us stop. They are not succeeding. You know why they aren't succeeding? Because we are navigating the campaign responsibly and wisely. And that's how we'll continue to do it. Oh, God. These people are just looking that deep into reading their quotes. You feel like you're looking so deep into evil that it like makes you dizzy. I'm like, I can't even see straight anymore. It's like, it's like you ever walked into a bathroom where the person before just dropped something so bad that you're like, you feel like you're going to faint. You're like, oh, like that's reading these quotes is like that. You're like, I'm going to pass out. This is so repulsive. But I will tell you this, he says, oh, we're succeeding and we're going to get through this and we're going to continue our genocide, our final solution, etc. I will tell you this, that for the next unredacted that I'm working on, not the one that airs this Thursday, but the one after that, I am working on the top 10 or 11 pieces of evidence that Israel is collapsing. So at least we have that to look forward to. At least we have those positives of all the signs that Israel is like the writing is on the wall. And then here's another interesting point. First, the U.S. agreed with Hamas to release the IDF soldier with double citizenship, Edon Alexander. I covered that the other day because they thought the U.S. made a promise that they would allow aid into Gaza and create a ceasefire if they gave them the U.S./Israeli hostage, the IDF soldier. And so they did that, and then Trump betrayed his promise. It says Israel continues to starve Gazans. The U.S. objective was to clear out this one U.S. Israeli citizen prior to letting Israel impose its violent endgame on Gaza. Mass slaughter, and those who survive will be instilled with fear into accepting to move out. Trump faked a disagreement with Netanyahu to soften the situation across Arab countries. And after this, he again stated in an interview yesterday that he would not interfere with Netanyahu. Meanwhile, the U.S. has been pressing Libya to take 1 million Palestinians who will be ethnically cleansed from Israel. So Israel, the U.S. and Israel want to send a lot of them. That's, almost half of them or more than half of them to Libya. And they make the point, why Libya? Because the U.S. is using that country they destroyed in 2011, which remains extremely weak and vulnerable to imperial pressure. For little money, they are ready. For the little money, they are ready to accept anything for a little money. And yeah, Libya is now, it's now just a puppet of the U.S. government, whatever basically we want them to do. And, we completely destroyed Libya, had Gaddafi bayoneted in the streets, and now we can ethnically cleanse Palestinians to Libya, apparently. Okay, I actually am going to change topics for a bit, believe it or not. That's the first half Israel rundown that I tend to do almost every single show because it is one of the most important topics in the world right now. And by the way, everybody, if you'll help support this show, that'd be amazing. There are a couple ways to do it. One is to become a member at leecamp.net, which is my locals page, or become a member at patreon.com/leecamp. I'm giving away more shit than I've ever given away. If you become a member for a whopping $6 a month, you get both my ebooks. Hold on, I should hold up two fingers. I got stuck on the one finger. Both my ebooks. You get, which are amazing, by the way. No, seriously, they're good. They're really good. They're really. It's not like an ebook pamphlet. It's not one of those. I got an ebook. It was 12 pages. No. These are books. You get all three of my Zoom comedy specials that are not available anywhere else. So if you're one of the people that missed the Zoom and they're all three are different hours of stand-up comedy while seated, as I like to call it. So you get all of that when you sign up. That's if you want to become a member. Here's something free, and that's all you can find at linktree.com/leecamp. But I thought I put it in here, but I didn't. Hold on. I got to put in the banner. It's leecamp.com/YouTube, I believe, is my new YouTube channel. Let me make sure I got that right. That'll take you straight to my new YouTube channel. And I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers fairly quickly. The aim is, and again, free, of course. The aim, and that channel only has Unredacted Tonight. It'll only have that. The aim is to see if a new YouTube channel is less suppressed because this one, by the way, this one won't change. But this one has been so suppressed for so long, it's possible a new one might help make things a little easier. So I'm just giving it a try. And you guys could all help me by going over there, clicking subscribe. Takes 2 seconds. Click the bell icon so you make sure to get the alerts. And it might help you find out about new Unredacted Tonight episodes. And I will get to find out whether I could actually have a slightly less censored channel. Anyway, that's leecamp.com/YouTube. leecamp.com/YouTube. I hope you will go there. Please do just go there. Just go to the thing. Okay, I'm just going to mention this for a minute, although I'm sure you heard it elsewhere. Joe Biden has cancer, prostate cancer, genocide Joe Biden. Unfortunately, I always, as he was committing genocide and sending weapons, sending missiles to rain down on children every 36 hours, as he was doing that, I was thinking, I hope he lives a long and happy life. I really hope he gets to like 120 because, it's like as he's sending missiles to bomb children, you're just like, that's the type of human being we want in this world. And so I just was hoping he'd live along. But apparently, dude got cancer. And this is obviously there are some people that live with cancer for many, many years. However, this is prostate cancer, which I believe is one of the most deadly. And I knew someone, it was very sad, who got prostate cancer and was found out and was gone within a month, which is just crazy. Here's the thing. I generally feel quite bad for people that get cancer. It's when someone has done more to destroy Black and brown lives in the United States of America than probably anyone else since, like the mid 1900s. It's tough to nail down a date. It's tough to feel that bad for him. His crime bill, one of the worst things he ever did, and he did a lot of awful shit, was his crime bill that he got through the Congress so that Bill Clinton could sign it. It was largely his baby. To increase the prison population by like 50%, and made it so that 1 out of every 3 Black men in the United States at some point is locked up. The number of lives he destroyed is untold. You could not calculate. And then, of course, there's everything it's tempting to say allowed to go on in Gaza with a year of genocide under his watch, but it's not just allowed when you're shipping the missiles to do it. It's perpetrating. You're the one doing it at that point. You're shipping the missiles to do it. You are a co-conspirator. I've often used the example of if there's a mass shooter and there's a guy standing outside the shopping mall, handing ammunition through the window of the building so the guy can keep doing it. You don't look at the guy handing the ammunition in and go, I just wish that guy would I wish he'd take a little bit stronger stance against the mass. No, you call him a co-conspirator. You call him an accomplice. You call him a mass shooter himself. Like, they planned it together. They sat there. He handed him the ammunition. That's what you call him. You don't go, I just wish, that guy didn't take the strongest stance against. No. Anyway. Okay, definitely want to get to this story. So there's been a pretty big backlash against Hassan Piker. He revealed that he was grabbed up by border agents arriving back in the United States, I believe Chicago O'Hare Airport. And for those of you who don't know, I think he's one of the biggest, or maybe the biggest Twitch streamer in the world that isn't doing video games, who actually just talks. And he is, a lot of his stances on the world I agree with. He self-declared socialist and stands up for a lot of the right things. But people cannot fathom as to why he spent 2 hours talking to the cops when they grabbed him to basically intimidate him. Thank you, Geocentric, for supporting the show. Geocentric says, I wish one day you can interview a 10-year-old flat earther. Meaning a 10-year-old? Like a kid flat earther? The Freemasons have been hiding continents and lands from us since 1800. You wish I could interview like a child flat earther? I mean, that is the time to believe in flat earth, when you're a child. So maybe that's right. Maybe a child flat earther probably has as logical arguments as a flat earther does. Anyway, let me get back to this. So, Guardian wrote, Hassan Piker's U.S. Customs story kicked off backlash. He was stopped and questioned about his political views by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, CBP, at Chicago O'Hare Airport last Sunday. And, of course, the stopping and grabbing him is horrific as well. And it shows if we're not in fascism, if you don't want to call this fascism, we are heading there fast. Okay, if you're just grabbing up fucking YouTube personalities and interviewing them as to why they're saying the things they're saying, the popular left-wing streamer thought he knew exactly what their motive was. He said, obviously, the reason for why they're doing that is, I think, to try to create an environment of fear. And I think that's largely true. He told his legion of fans on Twitch to try to get people like myself to shut the hell up. Shut the up. But the decision by Piker, a 33-year-old U.S. citizen, I don't know why I'm censoring that word, considering I'm about to show you a video that uses that word about 17 times, and I'm going to do it anyway. So, I don't know. Some people have told me you say too many times, and then they decrease your viewership by a lot. But the decision by Piker, a 33-year-old U.S. citizen, to entertain the agent's questions for nearly 2 hours has some of the self-described socialist fans and allies questioning why he didn't do just that, why he didn't shut up. And one of the reasons I want to cover this story is not to go at him or insult him, really. He seems like a good guy. It's to remind all of you, shut up. Don't talk to police that grab you for no reason or without a warrant. I mean, until you're under arrest, or actually once you're under arrest, just keep saying you want your lawyer. I don't know why I said until you're under arrest. No matter what part of the process it is, just keep saying you want your lawyer. There is no reason for you to answer any of their questions without a lawyer. And I know and look, I may end up in this situation at some point where it's like, yeah, I'm going to end up sitting in a holding room for 5 hours while they go and try and find a lawyer for me or try and decide what they're doing for what they're going to do with me. But that's better than making them think that they can just grab people and you'll tell them everything. Anyway, so this has led to a re-viral moment. This is not the first time this video has gone viral. And I think, unfortunately, one of the people in it is no longer with us. It was posted 3 years ago by the National Lawyers Guild. And it's also hilarious, besides just being important. Posted by the National Lawyers Guild. For those of you listening to the podcast, which is called Moment of Clarity on Apple Podcasts, everybody look it up, rate it, give it a rating. If you're listening to it right now, please, for the love of God, give it a rating. Give it a good rating. Why would you not do that for me? Give all my podcasts good ratings. You got Moment of Clarity on Apple Podcasts. You got Lee Cam Show on Spotify. You got Common Censored on both of those. You got Government Secrets on both of those. And you got Just Comedy on both of those. Those are all my podcasts. Please rate them. Please. Okay. But to give you guys, if you're listening to the podcast, this clip is two, 75, 80-year-olds sitting at a nice little dinner table with silver and china in front of them. Like you're expecting them to talk about how nice their new Lexus is. And anyway, here's what they say.
It's lovely talking to you as always.
Oh, hello.
We were just talking about you kids.
I'm Denise Heberly.
And I'm Bill Goodman.
Together, we've been fighting fascism for over 50 years.
And so much has changed over those 50 years, such as the ingredients to a successful firebomb.
And the glass that bank windows are made of.
But there's one thing that hasn't changed over 50 years, something that is so important to tell you kids who are new to this movement.
Shut the fuck up. You're sitting in the police transport van after a protest?
Shut the fuck up. In a holding cell with your comrades?
Shut the fuck up. Cop knocks on your door?
Shut the fuck up.
Texting on an unsecured device?
Shut the fuck up. Pulled over by the cops after a protest?
Shut the fuck up. Cop just asking about your day?
Shut the fuck up. Feds, call your mom?
Tell your mother to shut the fuck up.
Now, repeat after me. When the cops come calling, what do you do? Shut the fuck up!
Oh my God. I just want to give both. I'm sorry that guy's no longer with us. I want to give both of them a hug. This is the best thing I've ever seen. They have to give you a lawyer. I know they can make your life miserable. They can sit you in a room for 12 hours without any food or water. There are things they can do that will be awful before your lawyer or a public defendant or whatever gets to you. But unless they get information, there's also the fact that even if you didn't do anything, for whatever reason they've grabbed you up, whether it's immigration related, whether it's because you're a Twitch streamer, whether it's because you were at a protest where people were breaking windows, whatever the reason is that they've grabbed you up, let's say you didn't do anything. Let's say you were at a protest. You weren't the one throwing the stuff through the windows. They're partially just hoping, first of all, that you'll give them information who was the one throwing the, and then you're officially a rat. But but on top of that, they're hoping one of their hopes is that they'll catch you in a lie. I thought you said you were only there from this hour to this hour, but now you're saying you might have been there from this hour to this hour. Well, now once they have you in a lie, you're lying to, federal officials or law enforcement or whatever, and then that becomes the crime. So they can get you to accidentally commit a crime while they're talking to you. Whereas if you're not talking, then you don't have to worry about that either. So there is zero situation. God, I love this video. There is zero situation. If you guys where you should be talking to cops ever. And here's the thing, and just to take this away from those situations and just talk about police in general in our communities, I grew up in the world where, the happy liberal world where cops are viewed as a positive force, especially if you're white, especially if you're white and middle class in America. They're a positive force, right? And if you're wandering the streets somewhere and you're a little lost, go to a cop and ask for help. No, don't do that either. I grew up in that world where it was like, oh yeah, the cops will help me find it. Never ask a guy with a gun for directions. That is a terrible choice. If you need directions, ask anyone who doesn't have a gun. That should be step one to who you ask for directions. All the people without guns. There's no reason to ever speak to them. And there's yeah. Anyway, this video is amazing. If you want to find this video, National Lawyers Guild, Know Your Rights Reminder. You type in NLG, Know Your Rights Reminder, and you should be able to find it, or National Lawyers Guild, and you should be able to find it. If you just, the only reason I'm telling you is because I assume you want to be able to watch this on repeat. Oh, what a wonderful video. Okay, so who knows why Hassan Piker decided to sit there for 2 straight hours talking to the police. They were asking him things he said, like, what type of stuff do you talk about? What are your opinions on Trump? And it's like, what right do you have? Is that the crime I committed, talking about Trump? I know we're headed in that direction, but as of right now, I think that's not supposed to be a crime. Anyway, let's talk. This is some kind of positive news. Let's talk about some things that have gone shitty for Trump in the last few days. How about that? Please, everyone, click thumbs up, click share, click subscribe. Make sure you click the bell icon. Some things have not been going well for Trump recently. There was a 7-2. This is his Supreme Court. I mean, he crafted half of the Supreme Court, and he lost 7-2 in his bid to just be able to deport people without any due process. On Friday afternoon, the Supreme Court issued an emphatic and unusual decision declaring that the Trump administration violated the due process rights of Venezuelan migrants in its attempt to deport them to a Salvadoran prison. The government's late-night race to expel these individuals, the court held, surely does not pass muster under the Constitution, failing to provide them with fair notice and opportunity to contest their removal. The court also extended an injunction to stop the government from deporting an entire class of migrants under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. And I know I've already made fun of this on this show, but they're hoping to use a law that's designed for like an invasion. They're hoping to use that to deport people with no due process, as if we're under an invasion. It's just idiotic. But of course, that's what you do when you're trying to be a dictator, you use anything you want as pretense to do whatever you want. In all, the ruling marks, the only two no votes were Alito and Clarence Thomas. And it seems that Alito and Thomas will vote for Trump no matter what. There's literally nothing Trump could do they wouldn't vote. He could vote to disband the Supreme Court, and Alito and Clarence Thomas would vote for it. In all, the ruling marks an astonishing defeat for the Trump administration. The court did not decide whether the president can, in fact, wield the Alien Enemies Act to banish migrants to a foreign prison, though. But it imposed vital constitutional safeguards on his efforts to do so, protecting more innocent people from unlawful expulsion. And the court did all this on an exceptionally expedited basis with minimal briefing and no argument. So they went like straight through this because it was kind of a no-brainer to all of them except Alito and Thomas. The government's attempt to disappear migrants to a foreign black site is egregiously unconstitutional. In March, the president invoked the law. Immigrants, it noted, are entitled to due process of law in the context of removal proceedings, a fact that the court unanimously affirmed in a related case 6 weeks ago. So under the Fifth Amendment, no person shall be removed from the United States without opportunity at some time to be heard. So basically, even if you're an immigrant, you actually get to be heard as to why you're here and that you're not a member of a gang member that you're not a member of. So that has not gone well for Trump. Here's another one. DOGE, the days of DOGE may be limited. It seems things have not gone well recently for DOGE, Elon Musk's troll office. Elon Musk's office of disgusting, drooling trolls. The White House is considering Plan B as DOGE cuts hit a wall inside the Capitol. Running out of options to get his DOGE cuts approved by Congress, the White House is now looking at a 2-year runway to get the cuts passed and opening the door to launching a court fight over the president's power to shut down spending on his own. And at the heart of some of this is that a lot of the things Trump is cutting, Congress already allotted the money for. And, like all these offices and, USAID is the one the liberal media loves to fawn over, but USAID is an example. And, USAID is a coup-making organization, but that doesn't change the fact that Congress allotted the money for it. They, created the staff and everything else. And once they've done that, once all of that's been passed and signed by the president in whatever the last budget bill was, you're not supposed to, as a new president, be able to say, yeah, no, I don't want to give all the money to the things. It's already been allotted. Now, in USAID's example, I hope USAID remains crushed because USAID is a coup-making organization and a giant propaganda web of 6,000 journalists that they've been paying around the world. But there's other things that I hope Trump cannot cut, such as Sesame Street, okay? Don't go after Sesame Street, you assholes. That effort is hitting a dead end on Capitol Hill, with Republicans warning the White House that it is already facing tough odds on Trump's so-called mega bill. So basically, in order to get these cuts, that they've already sent everyone home, so they've kind of already made the cuts, but apparently they need to be approved by Congress, and that does not seem like it's going to happen. Therefore, the White House is giving itself much longer timeline to codify DOGE cuts while leaving open the option of challenging the Impoundment Control Act, the 1974 law that limits the president's ability to withhold funds appropriated by Congress. So that's the act, the 1974 Impoundment Control Act, that stops a president from stopping funding that's already been allotted to whatever, to anything. The congressional cold shoulder has major implications in the future of DOGE. Although the group has claimed more than $160 billion in savings, which, by the way, is not much when you think about the Pentagon, and their accounting has been disputed. And I covered some of this on Unredacted tonight. They claim they've saved $160 billion, but the actual accounting that's not true. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not true. It's a lot of that is not actually going to save the government any money. A lot of it is just lying numbers, like they made up numbers. In one case, they said they saved, $9 billion, and it was like $9 million, which $9 million is what the Pentagon spends on, I want to say staplers, but I bet you they spend way more than $9 million on staplers. It's what the Pentagon spends on chopsticks, because most of the time you order Chinese food or sushi or something, they come with free chopsticks. So the Pentagon doesn't buy that many; they buy like 12, and because most of them come free, and yet they spend $9 billion on it. No, $9 billion is not. It's nothing to the Pentagon. Nothing. Like they can't find 63% of their assets. What do they care about? $9 million is nothing. And yet DOGE is running around saying, we just saved the government $9 billion. And, you know, we're getting into all the layers of what this means. The real point of DOGE is to gut a lot of the government so that a lot of it can't work. So they can then say, it doesn't work, and then get rid of it. So that's part of it. It's to have more control over the government, and get rid of, portions of the deep state. There is a deep state, but it's not the deep state that Trump and Elon Musk think exists. It's not some, awesome liberal Marxist deep state like they want to believe. There's a deep state that basically keeps us at war endlessly and protects the petrodollar and protects capitalism. That deep state is 100% real, but instead they believe that, it's these evil Marxist socialists inside the Pentagon. Yeah, let me tell you, just pumped full of Marxists. But anyway, so although the group has claimed $160 billion, most of those cuts are unilateral and potentially reversible executive actions. With both Congress and the courts unwilling to provide legal backing, the administration is running out of ways to ensure its reductions hold, raising the risk that DOGE's sweeping disruption may leave little lasting impact. The cuts won't be real or lasting until Congress votes on them, Senator Rand Paul said. So DOGE may not really be doing much of anything, apparently. And I just want to say amen to everybody out there still protesting Tesla. Tesla can go itself. Here's the thing. Initially, there were not a lot of good electric cars in America because we destroyed the electric car so we could have everything run on petroleum and destroy our world and our future. So that was initially. Tesla kind of had an impact because it was the first, good, snazzy electric car outside of when they had electric cars back in the early 1900s. But nowadays, there are other electric cars you can buy or lease or whatever. And so Tesla's not needed anymore. So fuck them. Just because you're screwing Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world largely because of Tesla. So I think boycotting Tesla, great idea. Now, the whole I'm going to go to Tesla dealerships and throw Molotov cocktails that way. There's just other. I just feel like if you're that devoted to something, there's other things that kind of need protesting more than just Tesla. I mean, Starbucks and McDonald's and a spree of other, a whole gaggle of other corporations are involved in genocide. So protesting them would be a good idea too. But I do love the idea of just harming Elon Musk's bottom line. Not to mention, if Tesla keeps getting protested because it's connected to Elon Musk, Elon Musk may get kicked out of Tesla, which would also be pretty funny. Here's another thing it's shitty for Trump, but it's shitty for all of the U.S. However, that's a good thing for the world, I guess. The United States just lost its last perfect credit rating. So there's these credit rating agencies, which, by the way, were a big part of the 2008 financial collapse. And they rate countries as to how much a country is going to make good on its debts and things like that. And the United States used to always be rated AAA plus, AAA. Awesome. Well, now they just lost their final ratings agency that had them listed as AAA. Moody's rating downgraded the United States debt on Friday, stripping the country of its last perfect credit rating. The move could rattle financial markets. I believe stock market's down today because of this very reason, and push up interest rates, potentially creating an additional financial burden for Americans already struggling with tariffs and inflation. None of that's own goal, by the way, of course. Of the three major credit rating agencies, Moody's was the lone holdout maintaining that the U.S. had an outstanding rating of AAA. Moody's held a perfect credit rating for the United States since 1917. The U.S. has been rated a AAA since 1917. And now Moody's is like, yeah, we just can't. We just can't with you guys anymore. We just can't. It now ranks U.S. credit worthiness one notch below that. And, you know, this is, of course, there's a much larger picture behind this. It's not just that Donald Trump is unstable and his tariff war is backfired completely and things like that. The larger picture is, one, you would end up with Trump or a Trump lookalike no matter what in a waning empire, because this is what a waning empire vomits up, is garbage like Donald Trump. And, you know, you see it like if DeSantis were in office right now instead of Trump. Would it be that different? It'd be less entertaining, a lot less entertaining. But I think you'd see a lot of similar things, similar attempts in terms of what they'd be doing. But so this is what what an empire that's collapsing always vomits up. But beyond that, this has to do with de-dollarization. It has to do with the rise of other countries, especially China. And it has to do with the fact that the world cannot sustain this system. This system of capitalist destruction is just, it's a death cult. And we're in a death cult that you can't even mention. Like the word capitalism is rarely ever brought up on mainstream television. It's the fish, never mentioning the water. We can't ever say anything about it. Don't ever say the word. Don't let anyone know there could possibly be any other form of economics or form of setting up society. No, this is it. This is it. This thing that has completely destroyed our entire environment. This is all we got, and it was all we ever will have. It's just so stupid. Okay, one last story before I wrap up. I think we did good work here, folks. We got through a lot. We did good work. I'm proud of you guys. One more story here, and this is about China doing something positive, because China seems to actually plan for the future, which is not something the U.S. does. China's CO2 emissions have gone into reverse, and it's due to clean energy. And this is the first time it's ever been due to clean energy. China's CO2 emissions have gone in, like some countries' CO2 emissions have gone into reverse, but it was due to like the pandemic. This is the first time it's been due to clean energy. For the first time, the growth in China's clean power generation has caused the nation's carbon dioxide emissions to fall despite rapid power demand growth. And the usage of energy has gone up, right? It's gone up immensely. AI uses crazy amounts of energy. And they're saying that, I think in 5 or 10 years, maybe 5 years, like 16 to 20% of all U.S. energy will go towards powering AI. And I know that's the U.S., but similarly in China, I'm sure. The new analysis for Carbon Brief shows that China's emissions were down 1.6% year on year in the first quarter of 2025 and by 1% in the latest 12 months. Electricity supply from new wind, solar, and nuclear capacity was enough to cut coal power output, even as demand surged, whereas previous falls were due to weak growth. Right, so this is the first time that a decrease in CO2 has been due to clean energy. And this is also at a time where many Chinese are using a lot more energy because they're moving out of extreme poverty. They're moving into, more comfortable living and therefore more technology, more power usage, talking hundreds of millions of people. And yet China's CO2 is going down. The U.S. CO2 emissions not going down. Anyway, that is it's great news for the world. And I know we have to do this nationalist, patriotic thing where we don't talk about anything positive coming out of other countries. Fuck that. because nationalism is a brain parasite. Okay, it just makes you think stupid things. So really, we should all want every country to have their global warming emissions decrease so that we can survive more than a few more years. That'd be fun and neat, wouldn't it? That'd be so cool. Literally. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap up here, folks. If you haven't seen the latest episode of Unredacted Tonight, it is epic. That's what I have to say. It is epic. And so I'd love for you to check it out. You can check it out on my YouTube or leecamp.com probably. I don't really know what all of my websites are doing. But like I said, I'm trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers on the new YouTube channel because that's when a bunch of things kick in. That's when YouTube actually starts paying attention to you slightly. The algorithms actually start to matter. That is at leecamp.com/YouTube. And it's a bit of a test. I want to see, again, this channel is not changing. So if you're watching this on my regular channel, have no fear. All right. And I will also see you Wednesday for Government Secrets. And I'll see you Thursday for a new Unredacted Tonight. And that one is also epic. All right. Keep fighting.
Well, brother, I salute you, though, man. You're one of the few that bring together this tremendous artistic talent and still be in such deep solidarity with oppressed people.
It's an honor to be here because I'll tell you, Lee, you have one of the funniest shows on television, bar none.
It's an enormous pleasure to be here. While I was waiting, I was leafing through your wonderful book.
The same to you. I love your show. Be happy to come back anytime.
Lee, this is one of the great honors of my long career, just to be in the same earth with you.
I'm sure.
We're just so blinded. We have so many blinders on because our society doesn't want us to know things. And so it takes shows like your show, and
it is clearly designed to eradicate.
Hey, good to see you.
Hey, Jill, how are you? Julian, thanks for joining me. Honor to have you, brother.
Consumerism is a theory that people should behave this way to help each other. It's not.
Mr. George Galloway, thank you so much for joining me in these dark times.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you so much, Lee, for having me on. Keep fighting. Ha